Hey, this is Steve with Real-Time Music Solutions, and today we're going to take a brief overview of the instrument and output mixer tabs in Sinfonia 3. When you open Sinfonia, it should look something like this with your songs on the left, the timeline at the top middle, and below that, the editing tabs. The first tab to the left is the instrument mixer. To get a bit more information, let's enter edit mode. Currently, we're seeing all the instruments featured in this particular song. If I wanted to see all of the instruments across the show and make sweeping changes, I would hit the Global Edit button here. You've engaged Global Edit mode. Any parameter changes will affect all songs in the show. This includes destroying all of an instrument's previously made edits in favor of any edits you make now. Click Cancel to disengage Global Edit mode. We'll click Continue. Now the rest of the instruments across the entire show have popped into place, and we could change things like volume, muting, and panning in one fell swoop. Note that output assignment for instruments is always global. We won't make any edits for now, but let's go ahead and hone in on one instrument fader. Let's look at the far left, the Reed 1 flute. At the top left of this fader is a pair of headphones. If you click it, this is the instrument test. This is a good way to see if your samples are in place and check your routing. Right now we're going to channel A. To the right of that is the info button. When you click it, you get a pop-up and you can change the label of the instrument if you so choose, and the transpose flag. This flag being checked means if I make key changes in Sinfonia, this instrument will transpose. This is important when you have things like drum kits or non-pitch percussion, which you do not want to transpose. Unless you're creating your own original Sinfonia content, you don't really need to worry about this transpose flag. We've already taken care of it for every show. Click OK. Below that, we have the instrument volume fader. Below that, we have panning, which you can drag left and right, as well as a numerical value to the panning, which you can click and edit if you so choose. Below that, which we brushed on for a second, the output assignment. As you can see, I have 4 stereo outputs here, which I could use to assign this instrument anywhere I want. And finally, a mute button. One other thing to look out for with the instrument mixer is our groups. Here, I've already created a number of groups for this show in particular, and you can see they are global groups, so they reach across the entire show. An example is if I select the percussion group. As you can see, all 4 of the percussion instruments light up, and therefore I can control them all at the same time, whether I'm muting, changing panning, or adjusting volume. If I go ahead and just double-click one of these groups, I can see the groups editor where I created these. Read 1, Read 2, Read 4, etc. And if I want to create a new group, I'd hit the plus button. I could name this whatever I want, and I can select instruments to add to that group. If I want to select multiple at once, I could select the first one, hold shift, select the last one. If I want to do non-contiguous instruments that are not listed next to each other, I could select one and then hold the command or control, depending on whether you're on Mac or Windows, and select others. And then I could do that, and now all these instruments are in my new group, which I can name whatever. But I'll go ahead and just cancel that for now. Let's head to the output mixer. Okay, so we can see these are the different channels for my audio interface. And each one of these is a stereo pair. The first thing at the top of each is a label, which you can edit to be whatever you want. Maybe you'd rather this be channels 1 and 2 since it is stereo. Or maybe you want to name them after instrument groups. Maybe I want to make channel D the strings, and then go here. Go to enter global edit mode to make sure we're getting all the strings. And you could select one there, hold shift, select the last one. Again, if you were looking to select only specific ones that are not next to each other, you could hold command or control like that. But right now we are literally doing all the strings. So I'd hold shift, go here, boom. Now I have a strings group to go out individually to my audio interface, and I could mix and treat those differently than the rest of the orchestra. Just like the instrument mixer, we have our volume faders here. And below, this is a little different. Whereas the instrument mixer has panning for each instrument, this is actually an effects send. So if you want to send a portion of the audio coming through this channel to effects, you can. And finally here, a mute. Over here on the master is where the effects live. Right now we just have a reverb module, but we could add more effects if we so choose. Below this, the master output volume. Here, an FX return. So how much of the affected signal do we want to come through the master? The effects return channel, where are we going to be playing these effects? We could have the raw instruments coming through 1 and 2, and then decide to send all the effects to channels 7 and 8 if we want to. And finally, the master output mute. Okay, I was just showing you the multiple outputs using my audio interface, but to record sound with our screen sharing software here, I do need to switch to a stereo out that can go directly in. So that's why the output mixer looks a bit different. We only have one channel right now, but I wanted to show you the output test, which is fantastic for troubleshooting. To wrap things up, let's go back to the instrument mixer and start doing a bit of editing. If we turn on global edit mode and I were to move this fader at all, or the panning, or mute, it would happen on every song. Go ahead and just do that real quick. Okay, so I've lowered the read 1 in volume, the flute in particular. Here's another song, and we can see that that edit is in place. And if you hover, instrument mixer volume, read 1, flute, it pops up. And if I want to undo that on a global basis, make sure we got global edit mode on. And go ahead and bring this back up to 0. And now we can see that's taken effect on every song. Now, if I want to do this locally, just on one song, I can go ahead and drag this down. Now for the entire song, it's going to be at this level of volume. And then I can easily click on it and delete it in the timeline. I could also go to points view, grab my pencil. I can click it here, or I could use the hotkey Command or Control, whether you're on Mac or Windows, plus D as in draw to bring the pencil up and get rid of it. And I could draw. It will ask you what instrument do you want to use to draw with. And I could select my read 1 flute. And as you can see at the bottom, we have all of our groups. So if you wanted to draw a rise in volume or a fall of an entire group, you can easily select it and do so here. I'll just go ahead and do the flute. And you can see how the flute went down in volume. And I can delete these dots. And the flute is back to how it was before. And of course, you can do this for a group. Select the percussion group. I could select a swath of measures. Mute them all. Delete that. Select measures, select my group, adjust volume, or panning, or both. Now we got volume edits and pan edits here. Instrument mixer pan trap, instrument mixer volume trap. And I can easily just click these and hit delete. And as you can see, when you have more real estate to work with, you'll notice that your timeline edits carry a specific icon denoting the type they are. And everything I just demonstrated with the instrument mixer, you can also do with the output mixer, which makes things like fade outs possible. If I were to go ahead and select, I'll use the master fader. I'll grab my pencil, zoom in a bit so I can see more. Could have been a better fade, but I could always change it as well. Go ahead and get rid of my pencil. There you go, a bit more even of a fade. I'll go ahead and play. Depending on your setup, using the output mixer and instrument mixer together, you can get a very sophisticated mix going to your board. That about does it for this video. This has been Steve with Real Time Music Solutions. Thanks for watching.